And now for a special presentation of RLN Nightly News with Roslyn Hendrickson, The Reason Behind the Smile, featuring TV and radio show host and comedian Steve Harvey. Welcome to this edition of High Point. We're showcasing high points of stories around the globe, and we hope that makes you smile and brings inspiration to you and to those around the world. And tonight we journey to Atlanta, Georgia, home of the Atlanta Braves, Georgia Bulldogs, The Real Thing, Coca-Cola, and Family Feud, to present none other than the original king of comedy, Steve Harvey, who is real as it gets. If you've seen him flash that $1 million smile, he's a personality you can't forget. And we've got more coming right up when High Point returns. And now for more on Steve Harvey as High Point returns. Tonight we're talking about Steve Harvey, that famous comedian turned actor and someone who's worn many hats, whose talents take him from the kings of comedy stage to sitcoms, to hosting an all-familiar game show, Family Feud, to hosting the Steve Harvey Morning Show, Judge Steve Harvey Show, and author of his now famous book and movie, Act Like a Woman, Think Like a Man. Steve, as we all know him, is the multi-talented, larger-than-life megastar who has much to say about his faith in God. He makes no beans about his success, and Steve derives and employs his own experiences behind those comedic jokes and stories that has everyone's sides bursting from laughter. Stephen has, of sorts, become so many things using all of his talents, and however, it is his gift of comedy that truly transformed his life, and not only his, but those of others. It hasn't always been easy, and Steve's success came because he was so intentional about making a better life for himself. And we'll have more right after this on High Point. And now the story continues on Steve Harvey right here on High Point. Steve's life began to take a turn for the worse as he literally hit rock bottom financially before he got his big break in comedy. Being a college dropout prevented him from many opportunities early on in life, but Steve refused to cave in to self-pity. The party wasn't over, and Steve was about to celebrate. However, before he achieved the level of success, there was a series of life events that would cause Steve to rethink his future and what he was willing to do about it. Steve's highs have been just as intense as the lows in his life, and Steve has always been the one to keep it real. He was never about pretense, but believed solely in his faith in God and pure old hard work. Steve was willing and still working gigs, but now on a much bigger scale. And he doesn't waste his time or his talent, which would prove to be a game changer early on. And we'll have more on Harvey's early childhood and his phenomenal success when High Point returns. And now the conversation continues about Steve Harvey. Born Broderick Stephen Harvey, he spent his early childhood in Cleveland, Ohio, and we know him as Steve Harvey. And Steve tells his personal story to the delight of his audiences on his shows, and one being from his early childhood when he was a young boy in school. And when the teacher asked what he wanted to be when he grows up, he proudly told the class he wants to be on TV. The teacher berated him and thought his answer was foolish, telling him that he should try something else and that he would never succeed at being on TV. To his benefit, we can all thank him that his refusal to listen to his teacher proved otherwise, and that one experience would be the fuel to set his inner heart and soul ablaze, to accomplish most notably the phenomenal success of his life when he gained exposure and became one of the kings of comedy as a stand-up comedian at the Apollo Theater. However, it wasn't always that way in the early days when life became very difficult. Steve was forced to live in his car for a few years, a time when he was trying to make ends meet and hope for better times. He finally got enough money to go to Florida for a small gig where he did extremely well, enough to earn his way to New York to appear at the Apollo Theater, where he had a successful run hosting Showtime at the Apollo for several years. And little did he know that following one of the worst times of his life would be the greatest comeback ever, and there would be wave after wave of success, and he continues to ride to this day. And we'll have more as High Point continues right after this. Up next, Steve's rise to fame and what got him there and continues to keep him there even when he's been faced with difficult moments. And now for more on High Point. Stephen, a man of substance, class, and poise, stands very tall and captures the attention of anyone with that big smile, and his confidence is very evident. It's very clear that he understands his purpose, and he's very serious about his assignment, the divine timing of all things in his life. Steve unashamedly shares his story on his shows. He really cares about people, his wife Marjorie, his children, and of course, one who he unequivocally boasts who was the driving force and disciplinarian of his life, his mother. Steve is a very strong man, and although he stands all of 6'2", his soft spot is his mom, who passed away several years ago, and when he mentions her name, the tears start to flow, and it becomes very evident to us all his sincere heart and desire not only to succeed for himself, but to help others along the way. Somehow pays homage to a mother who loved and cared for him, encouraged him to follow his dreams no matter what, and of course Steve kept that promise. Coming up next, Steve's influence on the world and his loyalty and love for his wife Marjorie. And now for more on Steve Harvey. Steve's loyalty to his family is amazing, and his love for his wife Marjorie Harvey is unparalleled. Whether it's taking dream excursions in Paris or enjoying his beautiful, extravagant mansion in Atlanta, Steve is always making time for the love of his life, and that translates to a beautiful life, a majestic quality that is pure and genuine as the comedic giant himself. And it is without a doubt that Marjorie has made a major impact on his life, but that Steve has made a positive impact on her and on us all. And seeing Steve smile makes life a little bit brighter, adds to the joy that we all need. And so tonight, as we close, we wish to thank Mr. Harvey for lighting up every corner of the world, wherever that might be and wherever that takes him, but especially the one where he shares with his wife and family, Atlanta, Georgia. Mr. Harvey, thank you for that amazing smile. We're all the better for it. From High Point, and to all of you around the world, I'm Roslyn Hendrickson. Good night, everyone.